We all have superpowers. It's a skill that you complete with ease, although others may struggle. This skill, when performed, doesn't drain you of energy, it energizes you and augments life. This skill is your unique calling in life. When you find your superpower and you use your superpower to help others, you become a superhero. This is how we create superheroes. If you want to understand the mission more behind this podcast, go to episode 400. You can find everything about me at robzradio.com. 20 plus years in broadcasting, digital marketing and consulting expert, and I love creating content. That is one of my superpowers. Now I want to help you find yours.
This is Rob Z Radio.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the show. Hannah Baker, Hanny Bakes is here. What's up?
Hi guys, what's up?
Second time around.
Second time around, that's right.
It's awesome having you here. So this is, if anybody has not listened to the past episode, do you know what number that is? I don't know what number it is.
No, it just says Instagram famous Hannah Baker on it. That's all I know.
I'll put it in the show notes so you can find the first episode. So really, Hannah, since the last time you were here, I kind of repurposed the podcast. And we've talked about this, and you know what the premise is. But like creating superheroes, like finding your superpower, something in your life that is, something that innately in you can naturally do. It's just like a part of you. But also, whenever you do it, it gives you a ton of energy, and you could do it all day long, and it's helping other people and giving value to their lives. So as we start here, before we go into anything else, what is that for you? What's that superpower that you have?
I guess I would say my superpower is the energy I give off that other people can take from me. And people have told me that multiple times. Like, if you look at my comments under my YouTube videos, there's always people saying you have the best energy, and you make me feel better. I watch your videos and they uplift me, things like that. And it's not me doing anything out of the ordinary. It's just my personality and like how I would typically act. So, and
I think with what you do, it's especially important, right? So I guess we'll say right now, so you can find Hanny Bakes. It's HANNYY Bakes. There was a Hanny without two Y's. I guess. I
think there is somewhere, but she won't let me have the handle. So
I like with the two Y's anyways.
It's a little unique. We have two Y's always.
Yeah. So when you go to somebody's Instagram, especially because, like, would you call yourself an Instagram model? What would be the term you would use?
I don't like that. Okay. I don't know. I just like to be an Instagram or like a personality on Instagram that you enjoy following.
Awesome. Okay. Well, you have glamour photos though, right?
Yes,
those
photos. Oh yeah.
So when you see that, this is the thing for me is always like when I see those, you automatically assume, oh, that person probably doesn't have very much of a personality.
Right.
That's just like an assumption.
Right.
That comes along with that. So it's awesome that you naturally have this very positive, exciting, happy personality that brings people in. Because I think you break that mold that most people would expect something different when they meet you. Like, oh, you can't really talk to her.
Right, yeah. A lot of people always say like, oh, you're a real person. And yes, I am a real person. I cry, I get happy, I feel things too, so.
Yeah. Where do you think it came from? So if I had to ask you that, and you may not know, but what is it inside of you that makes you that person?
Well, I think it is a combination of the way I was raised. Like my dad is a very people person type person, I guess you would say. And
radio DJ, he's been doing that for a long time, so he has that personality.
Yeah, he has a huge personality. And growing up in my house, it never turned off. Like he thought he was in front of a microphone all the time.
Yeah.
So I feel like I really can attribute a lot of that to my dad. He's always been very good in front of people and in front of the microphone and everything. And also my mom, like she's a little bit more reserved, she doesn't want to put herself out there as much, but her personality is also very people friendly. She has really good spirits, and people always say, your mom is so awesome, and she's like, being around her is so fun and positive. So growing up in a house where like that was the norm, I just always thought everyone was kind of like this. And then I come to realize that people are rude. People are, like there are people out there that don't have that personality, and
people don't know how to come out of their shells.
Yeah.
That's for me, that's a big part of my life was like, I think everybody, I could be wrong. I feel like everybody has a really strong, good personality inside of them, but they don't know how to bring it out. They don't know how to put it in front of the world.
Yeah.
So when you find somebody who does, I mean, I imagine a lot of people gravitate towards you because of that. Because they're like, oh man, my wife's like that. That's how she is. She's just naturally this bubbly, exciting, jovial, just fun person who always wants to make everybody laugh and be happy. And when you find somebody like that, you're like, wow, how do they innately have that ability inside of them? And you were just kind of, you grew up with it.
Yep.
You're born with it.
Mm-hmm.
How do you teach it to somebody else? That's the hard thing.
Mm-hmm.
I've had to figure it out over the years. What would you say to somebody? Because you coach people, you do cheerleading and you coach in cheerleading. Do you run into that with kids and with people coming up? And what do you do?
I do. So with coaching cheerleading, like I'm not going to say too much about it because it's obviously the kids.
We don't have to name it.
Yeah,
names.
right.
Yeah.
Well, so like they're in middle school, high school ages, and like I see them go through parts where they become like insecure or whatever it may be. And what I do is always like try to make the situation way less than what it is. Like if somebody is super worked up and they just, are upset or they feel like they can't be themselves or whatever, like I just try to ease their mind and be like, you're doing nothing wrong. Like I like make them feel as normal as possible, because I feel like with me, I never really questioned if what I was doing was normal or not. I was just like, this just feels natural, so I'm going to do it. And if someone didn't like it, I was just like, honestly, I'm kind of naive in the sense that when people don't like things about me, I don't even notice half the time.
That's awesome.
And
great ability, great skill to have.
People tell me all the time, "You're so naive," and I'm not naive when it comes to like business, but when it comes to like people being hateful, I'm like, it's not on purpose. I just don't even look at it. And
that's so awesome. What a great thing to have.
And sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm stupid. I'm missing all this. But then I'm like, you know what? It's fine. So I always try to like downplay all the situations. Whenever someone's really upset, I'll say, you are the way you are, and do not worry about it. Like it just make them feel comfortable. Like what they're doing isn't anything wrong. And like the more comfortable, especially like whenever I coach younger kids, they can tend to get super upset or for whatever reason. I always find like the more relatable I can be to them and I can downplay their situation. So if someone says, "Oh, Miss Hannah, I have this, I have a boo-boo," and I'll always bend down so I'm on their level. I'm not looking down on them, and I will say like, "Oh."
That's like a motherly thing too. I
right.
think moms or women get that.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You're not a mom, but like women get that innately. Guys have to figure that out more.
Yeah. And I'll always say, I'll make a joke. I say, "Do you want me to take you to the hospital? I'll see." They might have to cut it off, and then they're like, "Oh no!" And it's just like the more you can downplay someone and make them feel like related and cared for, and I think that's also coming back to like how I was raised.
I was gonna say
in my household. Not saying anything just goes, but like whatever I wanted to be, whatever I thought I wanted, or whatever I was, my parents were okay with it. Like if I wanted to dress this way or do this or express myself this way, they supported me. So,
that's awesome, man. That's so awesome to hear, and it's wonderful to have parents like that. Are you an only child?
No, I have a younger sister,
you do?
But
okay.
She's not like me.
Oh, okay.
It's really weird. My whole house is very bubbly personality, and my sister's the opposite.
Yeah, what I find, and this is just an observation by myself, people who have multiple kids, especially like 3 or 4 or more, it's like you can't let one kid who's older, you can't let one kid do something that they want to do because all the other kids are going to want to do it, and that's not safe for them, but it might be safe for that older kid.
Right.
So you kind of have to hold everybody to a certain kind of way of being, which can mess somebody up. I can see how that can really, I've seen that throughout the years, and it's not on purpose. It's a matter of like, you don't want this 2-year-old to die because the 7-year-old wants to climb a tree or something.
Right.
So you kind of hold, and that's difficult. So like Max, I think I grew up mostly as an only child. For like 6-7 years I was an only child. Max is 5. He's an only child at this moment. I don't know how long, when that'll all change. But I think the concept is with him, I let him do whatever he wants. Not saying like whatever he wants, but I mean, if he wants to try something, I'm like, dude, go for it.
Yep.
And that's how kids, that's how they need to be.
Oh, yes.
You got to let them do that. But when you have multiple kids, I imagine it gets really difficult to let that happen.
Right.
So that's awesome that you've had that upbringing and that was a part of your life. I was the opposite, where, man, I really wish I would have never worried about or thought about even what other people think. But it's like it's like a natural instinct for me to automatically think, what is somebody else thinking?
Right.
And that's probably held me back from so many things. And the more, I guess I've had to work on it and get better at it, it'll make me a lot stronger as I do it, right? It becomes a superpower, I think, because it's something, I also see like these superpowers as something that was once something that like you defined yourself as a horrible part of your personality that held you back. And once you flip it and invert it, now it becomes a thing that liberates you. because now you can use it to its full potential
Yep.
because you understand
You know how to use it, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's all about perspective, how you're looking at it. But that's really cool that's how you came up, and that's your mindset, because that's the main problem with most people is they're worrying about what everybody else is thinking.
Yeah, I feel like that I can attribute so much of like the way I am just from like being raised in a household that is so accepting. So yeah.
That's special.
I got lucky.
Shout out to your parents.
Yeah.
Adam, and what's your mom's
Adam,
name?
Mary Beth.
Mary Beth. Yeah,
They'll probably listen to this.
and they're on your stuff on your channel on occasion.
They want to be. My dad's always like, put me on the channel. The people want to see it. They do actually. Like people react really well to them just because, like I said, they have really good, big, bubbly personalities and good spirits. So
yeah.
Yep.
And I think another unique thing is why I like having you on. We both live in a small town, Altoona, Pennsylvania, central Pennsylvania. That's what I love about the world we live in right now. When I was 10, I would do like a radio show in my bedroom because I just loved radio. And it was just me doing it for no reason, just for fun. If I was 10 now, I could actually have an internet radio show.
Oh,
I could
yeah.
have a podcast.
You could have a channel. You could have anything you wanted.
Yeah, it's a whole new world, which is amazing. So I think it's really neat to see people in smaller towns doing what we're doing, because you need to see it's not just coming from major cities.
Oh yeah.
It's anybody can do it and make it work. So you're like at 16,000 followers on Instagram. You're like 25,000 followers on YouTube.
Yes.
What's the view number you have on YouTube?
I hit 2 million views total on my channel.
Wow, that is freaking cool.
Yeah,
2
that was
million
crazy. Yeah, they sent me an email, and I got an email for 1 million views, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. And then like not long after that, I had an email for 2 million. So yeah, 2 million views. Like it's crazy. 2 million people sat in front of some type of device and watched me talk about something at least for a couple seconds. So I'm reaching people somewhere. You know what I mean?
What would you say? And this might be an assumable question, but like, what is your audience? Who are the people that you interact with the most? Like, what age ranges, and like, what kind of people are they?
So on YouTube, especially on YouTube, they have an entire creator studio where you can go in and look at every specific analytic, like every number, breakdown, everything. And my audience is primarily 18 to 24-year-old women. That is what I have. Because there's a lot of brands that will say, send us your demographics, send us all this stuff. And I always just send them that. And so I would say it's not. I always thought it was, middle school, high schoolers. But then you think about it, like my content is not, it's a little bit more mature. So I think I naturally appeal to people that are my own age. So, and I do have viewers that are younger, of course, but it's pretty much right in that 18 to 24. And it's crazy. A lot of because it will give you a breakdown of what countries people watch you in. Like I have viewers from the UK, some from like Australia, I've one like all over the world, and you have no idea until you go in and actually look at it. So
I've seen that on my Facebook. They give you that same kind of breakout. I have people from like Uganda who follow me. I'm like, how the hell did you find me in Uganda? Why are you following me? That's nuts.
Yeah, you can reach anyone anywhere.
Yeah, and it's also like it I guess speaks to like all these boundaries are breaking down, which is a wonderful thing. I would never think that somebody in a country like Uganda or wherever it is, or like Ghana, would even relate to what I talk about. Yeah, or would even understand. Like, why would they follow me?
You just never know.
They must. The relatability must be there across the board. I guess Americanization of the world has caused that. Like everybody knows about America and understands what we're like to a certain extent. Yeah. And yeah, that it's a very, very crazy thing, especially because they can show you that specific information.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
What is with your YouTube, with your Instagram, with what you're doing? You're about a year and a half into the YouTube channel. A year and a half into the YouTube channel. What about the Instagram? When did you start that?
I've had that for years, but I didn't switch it over to a business account until I started my YouTube channel. So that'd be a year and a half as well. Yeah. Okay. I didn't start taking it seriously as a business. It was just me being me.
And I'm sure you've told a lot of people who've reached out to you online this, but like I want to know what is your advice? Somebody wants to start. Maybe they want to do makeup like you do, and you don't just do makeup though. Let's ask that question first. Okay. So you're not just doing makeup and fashion; it's also personality driven because you have a personality,
right?
And you're showing that off, and that's what that's really the attracting factor.
Yeah.
Like, that's going to bring the most people and make them stay.
Yes, I think that's like the underlying attract. Like that's something that you might come because the thumbnail is like nice makeup or hair or whatever, but you stay because the personality is relatable and the content is good. Like, you know, I feel like you have to have almost both. Like you need to be knowledgeable about the product that you're speaking about or the service or the whatever it is, but then also have the personality behind it. So yeah, my content, I try to stay pretty beauty related. I do like makeup, I'll do reviews, makeup tutorials, things of that nature. I do fashion, but I also have been trying to incorporate more vlogs. Just people want to see the day-to-day life. People want to see, you know, they want to see like struggle sometimes. They want to see like the great times. They want to see it all. So I kind of went through a rut where I was like, I feel like I'm doing the same thing over and over again. I'm making a makeup tutorial for this, and this. And while my views were still up, I just didn't feel like as driven. So I posted an Instagram poll about it and I got over like 200 responses about people saying you just need to make more vlogs. Like this is what we want. We want to see the personality and that's what like draws us to you. So yeah, my focus is kind of like all of it. I like to just incorporate as much as I can into my channel. Yeah,
and I think that's a big thing, right? You get stuck. You might get stuck somewhere, and this happens to me. This has happened throughout because I've been doing radio since I was 16. So I would get stuck in these patterns, and I would recognize, man, I'm not being myself. I'm like, I feel like I have to do this because this is what people want me to do. But I actually hate doing it, and I'm dying on the inside. Like, it's like you're trying to claw yourself. And you just get sick of it. So how do you make that shift? Say somebody, I want to go backwards in a second here, but like say somebody's already making content, they're already creating stuff, and they feel like they've hit a wall, and they're like, a good example was this, we were just talking before we started recording, there's this dude in State College, Pennsylvania, who plays Call of Duty Zombies, and he has a huge following, but that's all he does is play that game. And he was saying even how, I'm going to try to get him on here, but I was thinking like, he was saying, man, it's like, how am I going to do this forever? Like, it's just one, it's not even like video games. It's like one video game, and that's all he plays. How do you break outside of that box? When you hit that wall, how do you jump over it? Because it's usually, at least me personally, it's like, oh God, I got to start revealing more about myself, which can be scary at first. Right. For some people. For you, it might have like been supernatural. But what was that like? Like, how did you do it? Well, or how are you doing it?
I guess whenever I get stuck in a rut, I'll take a step back and I'll be like, number one, you need to, like, I'll tell myself I need to stop producing content just to produce content. Like, I want to put something out there that resonates with me, because if it resonates with me, it'll also resonate with people that, you know, like can relate to me. So that's my first step. But then I know a lot of like, not personally, but like I follow enough YouTubers and things like that where when they start with YouTube, like, they start with that, and once they reach that where they, you know, they kind of plateau, maybe not in numbers, but like in content they're creating and stuff like that. Some of them take it to the next level and they start incorporating more like different types of content on their channel. But a lot of them that I know, like a lot of creatives in the beauty industry, they will start their own, like, not side job, but maybe like they'll start their own cosmetic company, or they'll create like a sunglass line or something. So I feel like you can have that one platform and then branch out. I think you just need to branch out into all aspects of like what you are interested in. So say you're really good on camera, and I mean, one of my biggest role models, her name is Desi Perkins. I really, really like her. She's a YouTuber, Instagrammer, that kind of thing. But you don't really see her talk that much about like, she talks a lot about YouTube and stuff like that, but she went out and made a sunglass like line, and it's so amazing. And like, I feel like she talked about, you know, I don't want a cosmetic company, but I kind of felt like I was plateauing. I was creating content 24/7, and I needed to somewhere else to put my interest into, so I made that, and then like that's also extra revenue, things of that nature. So
that creates that recurring revenue, the passive income. So now she can create whatever she wants because she's not relying on YouTube as her income.
Exactly. Yeah,
that's the key.
So she's huge. I mean, she has like millions of followers, but I really think that like you have to find what resonates with you and just keep running with it. Like after YouTube, okay, like let me pass this over into my Instagram, or let me pass this over into collabing with a brand, or let me pass this over into starting my own brand, whatever it may be. I gotta keep going uphill.
That's a really good point. I'm glad you bring that up, because really what it is personal branding. And I've done a lot of seminars on this just in social media. If there's one thing that will take you wherever you want to go, it's that personal brand.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can do, once you establish that, it doesn't matter what you do. People are going to come because they like you.
Yes.
So you have a cosmetic line. You have, I always think of like Kevin Hart. Like that dude has like all these different companies that he's created.
Right.
But
it's all off his personal
brand.
brand.
It's all just him.
Correct.
It's like if you like Kevin Hart, you're probably going to like the stuff he's doing.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's so, it's so simple, but also so difficult, I guess, because you have to, number one, be yourself. You got to be a brand. So you got to be able to put yourself out there. And then you have to have the understanding of how that works and not be defined by something.
Yes.
People get defined by things. And
Yeah.
they feel like that's who they are.
Yeah.
That's not, that thing that you are, that YouTube channel is not you. That product that you're promoting is not you. None of that is you. You're just, it's
you're
who's on the inside.
Right. Exactly.
If you can consistently bring that out and refine it, and get really, it seems you're lucky as like you just have it, like it's there.
There
so you can
are,
put it out.
Yeah, there are some people that I follow that I at first, like before I went to school for anything like this, or before I really got into my own, you like the normal person wouldn't realize, but there are things that brands or people, they like, you don't pick up on it until you actually realize that they're personally branding themselves. Like I follow one girl on YouTube, has millions of followers, and at the beginning of all of her at the beginning of all her videos, she sings this little song, and it's nothing crazy. Like she just like says her name over and over again, and like I'm always just like, oh yeah, that's just Jackie's thing. And then I realized like that's what sticks, because people are like, oh, you didn't sing your song at the beginning of this video, like what? Or I know one girl that always say, okay, grab a snack because we're about to get into it, and she says that in every single video. So like if you can find that little thing to bring up consistently, people will be like, oh yeah, I know that, and you just don't even realize it. Your brain's just like, they recognize it, it's relatable, and you keep going. So yeah,
especially if it is a song or a jingle, like that's the kind of stuff that gets stuck in your head and you catch yourself singing it. Yeah, it just creates a whole
smart marketing, smart marketing.
And it might not even be you might not even consciously be doing it.
Exactly.
It's just like feels like that's my thing. I just do it. That's just what I say.
Yeah.
And it just kind of sticks.
Yep.
Do you something like that for you?
I don't. I was just thinking that. I guess you would call it like a catchphrase or something like that. But no, I don't. I don't have one.
I don't have one either.
No, it'll come. It'll come when it's time. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah. What would you say to somebody who's just starting out? Because and I'm sure you've experienced this, man, but if I do like a career fair, if I'm talking to high school kids and you ask, what is it that you want to do with your life? 60% are going to say like, I want to be a YouTube star. I want to create something online, whether it's YouTube or whatever. It's like, that's the thing that most kids are going towards. And honestly, I mean, why shouldn't it be? You can do whatever the hell you want to online and create something out of it and make money. So what would you say like in the beginning?
I would say, so I actually just made a video about this the other day. I didn't upload it yet, but I just filmed a video talking about this because I get DMs from brands, from, salons just up and starting or whatever. Just people like, what is the advice? Number one word of advice would be, do not start this. Don't go into this world with money in your mind. Like that would be my number one word of advice. I would say go into it because you find something that you enjoy. My dad would always say when growing up, like, if you find a job that you like, you will not work a day in your life. And he'd be like, I really like being on radio and I enjoy going to the station and recording my show. So when I started my channel, I'm not kidding you, I had zero intention of ever it turning into anything.
What was your intention?
It was just fun. I was like kind of in like not a dark place, but I was just kind of down.
In a funk.
Yeah, and I was really going through it at the time. I was just not myself. But I found that when I would get on my Instagram live and I would talk to my viewers and stuff, I could feel like the spirits in me like rising. So I was like, you know what? I should just start a YouTube channel. I could do this and it would be fun. So I started it, and it was like 6 months later, they sent me an email and like, hey, you're monetized, you're going to start making money. And I'm like, oh, that's great. Whatever. Like it was seriously for fun until I realized, number one, you can have fun and make business out of it. That's like the best combination ever. And like when you reach that, like that's exactly where I want to be. And what was I saying? And when I realized that, and then number two, I was like, yeah, I still didn't even really care about the money that much until that one video went viral. And then I saw what actual type of money you can make. And I'm like, so you can seriously make a living off of being yourself, why would I not want to do that?
Would you say how much money you could can make? Are you willing to talk about that?
Yeah,
I'm curious.
People ask me that all the time. So it depends. It really depends on the month. So like with YouTube,
with that big video, like what did that big video do?
So over time, I probably made like $6,000-$7,000 from just that video. From ad revenue from just that video.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like a year old or so.
That's crazy.
And yeah, like with analytics and video, like ad views,
6,000 total over the course of a year.
Just from that video.
Just from one video.
Yeah.
All right. So go. You can keep. I'm going to bring this up on the screen so people can see this while we're talking about it, because I kind of want to.
I hate watching myself.
No, I'm not going to watch it. I just want to show them if you're watching this.
Which
you can
video?
See which one
it should be the first one if you go to my YouTube channel.
Oh, it's the first one at the top.
Oh, can you click on my
just your
yeah, see if you can just go to my actual channel. Yeah, it's that first one. If you right there with the most
6,000.
Yes, that one at the bottom. Yeah, that one, and that's not even that one itself.
Get ready with me.
No,
that's not it.
Down. I see it.
Oh, how I grew my hair.
Yeah,
right,
how I grew my hair, because people want to know about hair. So yeah, and like this ad we're watching right now, I'm making money off of it.
Right.
So yeah.
Is it by like me clicking? Do you get paid like per click, or is it just?
So it goes off of if you engage in the ad, but also if you sit through the entire ad. So if you skip my ad, I don't make anything off.
Oh yeah.
So don't skip my ads. I'm just kidding.
If they sit through the whole thing, that's when you actually get paid.
Yeah, they sit through it.
Thing.
So there's different rates, and Google AdSense actually doesn't give you the exact number for like for each individual person, but you get them like as a whole number. So if they sit through the ad, you make like the smallest amount. If they interact with the ad, you make more, and then if they click on the ad and actually make a purchase, you make even more. So it's all tracked, which of course everything is now. So
wow. And this has 621,000 views. You made about $6 or $7 grand off of that.
That video,
freaking awesome. Like, that's real life. Like that's the kind of stuff that this stuff is possible, but hearing the numbers, and like actually what happens.
So crazy. I also learned that I wouldn't also encourage this for people. I guess not for people that are starting out, because it's a little bit different. But I didn't know that media kits are a thing. Have you ever heard of media kits?
A media kit? I mean, I have. I don't know what exactly it is.
I really didn't either until one of the brands I was like in contact with. They're like, yeah, just send us your media kit. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't know.
Now I got to make a media kit. Like, what am I going to do?
Oh my God. So I'm on YouTube. Like, what's a media kit? And I YouTube everything. Yeah. So it's basically just like, it's almost like a brochure where you sell yourself. It's like, these are my stats. This is what I can do for you. And this is what I charge.
Well, that makes sense.
Right. Yeah. So I made one of those, and I like sending those to brands and stuff like that. Like they're like, you can say like, okay, I'm gonna offer you a dedicated video for this price, or I'm gonna offer you a mention of your product for in the beginning first 5 minutes for this price, or if you want something in between there, if you want less, then maybe I'll do it 20 minutes into the video. Like there's just so many ways you can go into it.
And you can make it up.
It's all you. And
that's wild. Like you would think YouTube would have like a team of agents who are like, hey, we're your agent now, we're gonna do this for you, and and they would take more money off the top, but they let you actually do it.
Well, because you're not going through YouTube. It's like when these brands, like usually their PR teams will reach out to you and say, hey, we would love to sponsor a video from you. We have a budget. Send us your rates. And the thing about it is, unless you're really super close with other like content creators, you don't know what other people are charging. So this brand might pay someone $1,000 for a video, but they might pay you $500 for the same video. So you never know. And that's why when people talk about the money that they make on YouTube and Instagram, it's like everyone's like, oh my God, what are they saying? Because people don't really speak about it. I know of YouTubers that might charge $60,000, $70,000 for one dedicated review whenever they have millions of followers, and brands that will pay that.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. Man. So I do make like some money from sponsorships as well. That's where a lot of YouTubers make the majority of their money. And then I also get paid through Google AdSense, which is the ad company that runs through YouTube, and that's ads on your videos.
They just send you checks right in your bank account?
Yeah,
How does that work?
They direct deposit it on the 21st of every month.
Oh, damn, that's probably sweet.
It's once a month. Yeah, it's just like a little lump sum of money that goes in. So
Do you think, because you're about to finish college,
Right.
with a strategic communications major?
Yes, from Penn State World Campus.
That's new. I've never heard of that. I have a communications major, which means nothing, which I am technically using, I guess. But the strategic one, that's like a content creator.
Yes.
They created that when the internet blew up, like when social media blew up.
Awesome, yes.
What do you say to somebody who's going to college and, maybe they're doing what you're doing and you didn't drop out. Like, obviously, you could have dropped out of college.
Right.
And just done this full time.
Yes.
But you're going to finish it up. Now, your major is relating to what you do. Did you think about leaving? Did you think about, like, why am I even going to school now?
Yeah.
This thing's taken off.
Yeah. So
why didn't you, or what's your thought process on it?
So my first...
Your parents get mad.
No, not even... My parents would be like, all right. Well,
yeah, they'd be whatever.
They'd be like, you're paying it back. But no, my first thought was, before I ever got into YouTube, actually, I dated this guy that played football. And he was like, I'm going to go to the NFL, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I'm going to leave school early. And I'm pro college or not, whatever. I'm whatever you want. Like, if you don't want to go to college, don't go to college. If you want to go to college, whatever. But like, if you're going to start that and then you're going to go into a field that's also not guaranteed, and you're already like halfway through, or you're, like, you want to go to school, you want to have something to fall back on, then I would say go do it. Like, and also with college, I made a lot of I met a lot of people, had a lot of experiences that I don't think I would have had, and I know I would have went down another path, and at the end it would have turned out good anyway. But like, going back to that guy that I was saying, so he was going to leave to go to the NFL early, and I'm like, I don't want to be your mother, but like, say you're injured or you never know what'll happen. Yeah. You are a year away from your degree. And I'm like, you might as well just get this degree.
How's he going to get in the NFL without playing college ball and getting drafted?
Well, so like they have like an eligibility type. There's like a set of rules, and you can be eligible after 3 years. Like Saquon Barkley left. Right. He has no degree. He just left. And which, I mean, you can't blame him. So he's going to
be really upset later on in
life. Right. So, but like, I was just kind of trying to be like, think like into the future more. So I guess what I would say is, like, you don't, like, I have heard people talk about it all the time. You don't know where the internet's going to be in 10 years. Because did we think 10 years ago the internet would be like this? No one had any idea. So YouTube could be wiped away tomorrow. Sure. Yeah, you never know. So I feel like in my situation, because I was already 2.5 years through, I didn't like school. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't like school. I don't have a perfect.
Me neither. I hated school.
Yeah, I'm like, C's get degrees. Like, I'm not. This is not all in for me, honestly. But I already invested that much money in this, so I was like, I'm gonna finish. And also, like, I think of this. It's not kind of like a downfall, not a downfall, but like something to fall back on, because I know that, like, with what I've done with my own personal brand, I could definitely say, I decide, you know what, I'm sick of being a personality on the internet. I'm sick of this. I just want to be normal. Like, I just want to work a 9 to 5. I want to.
First of all, you're not normal.
Right.
So that's one thing. But you mean like live a
normal 9 to 5 life. Yeah, maybe one day I wake up and I'm like, I don't want to do this. I want to have some kids and get married, and like, I want to just.
But dude, you could still do that on YouTube, right?
Oh yeah, you can make money off it too. Exactly. But like, I want to be average. I don't want to do this anymore. And then I still have my degree, and I also I have both. I have my degree, and then I have all of everything I've done for myself to fall back on, and I can go to some company and be like, hey, I have all of this, and I could fall back on it. You could get a job anywhere, right? So
with what you built,
right?
That's the thing with the internet, with what you have, and if you're making content and you're doing it on a consistent basis, and you have a reason for why you're doing it, man, that is the best resume you could ever possibly have.
Yeah.
So thinking like, you went to school, I went to school, it's whatever. We have the degrees.
Right.
We have you might not have any more debt. I'm still paying my debt off.
Oh no, I'll have debt. Right. I don't have it.
I don't know if you were making that much money yet.
No. Oh my God, I wish.
But the thing is, like, if you feel like, I don't know, I'm back and forth on it, because school, I feel like college is falling apart. It just doesn't have as much purpose as maybe it once did, especially if you're going for a comm degree or something like that. Mm-hmm. If you feel like you're in school and something else is taking off in your life that you feel like, man, this might be the right thing, I teeter. I'm like, jump out. Maybe you should just jump out and chase after that thing, because you're going to delay your success a little bit, but then again, you put the money in, why not get the degree? And it goes both ways, but
I think it's like kind of an instinct thing for me, because if I would have started a YouTube channel like my first semester of school, I would have dropped out easily. But I was 2.5 years in, and you know, when I started it, like I said, I didn't really plan on making money from it. So I really didn't start to see anything significant till the beginning of my senior year. And by that point, I'm like, you know what, let's just get this degree. And just in case, because like I said, I do go through ruts and I do go through phases where I'm like, do I want to do this right now? Like, do I want to do this forever? So it was kind of like I had to weigh my options, and I definitely did for a long time. I really didn't want to go back to school. I don't enjoy doing schoolwork. Don't do well. Honestly, it's just not for me. But I weighed my options, and I was like, this is my best move. So my best advice would be weigh your options. If you don't put your hand into it until you're for sure that you want to do it, and if you find yourself in the middle of it, like, you need to sit down and really be real with yourself and trust your gut instinct and be like, do I want to do this or not? So
do you have any regrets from creating content on YouTube? Is there anything about it that you're like, man, I probably shouldn't have done this thing, or anything like that?
Honestly, no, because I feel like I read this one blog post not long ago where they were talking about the first one you create will always be horrible. Like, the first podcast will not be good. The first
try like the first 30,
right, like the first video you make is not going to be good. This, like, and it just really resonated with me. I was like, I don't regret anything I've done on YouTube. I feel like I've been genuine in everything I've posted, so I really don't think there's anything to regret. Do I think that there were opportunities that I missed up on? Probably yes, like, you know, just from maybe being like a little naive or whatever it may be. But yeah, so no, I'm pretty happy. That's awesome.
I mean, here's the thing too, and I think YouTube is especially a special place for this, because if you can go back, and I've done this a bunch of times, I find somebody on YouTube, I'm like, wow, this person's awesome, and I love what they're doing, and they're on episode, you know, like 300 or whatever. So I'll scroll the whole way back to the beginning, and just to see what they started with.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And it's always like, holy cow!
Yeah.
Like, imagine, look how far this has come. And I think that is in itself, especially if you're running a business with your personal brand, and if you want to build trust in people for what you do and why you do what you do, and they can go back and see your journey the whole way through. Because a lot of people they'll delete their content. Like,
oh yeah,
you know, I've talked to a bunch of people who aren't successful doing this, and they just delete everything they did and start over again.
Yeah,
and I'm like, you are always going to be the hardest critic. Mm-hmm. You're the one, most people at least. Mm-hmm. Myself personally, it's like, if I go back and listen to something of myself, I'm probably going to pick it apart.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, that's good.
It's like showing growth. Definitely.
Yeah, you can see the path. Mm-hmm. That's so cool. That never existed before. You couldn't, like, somebody got a TV show, you know, like it was Friends or whatever. You can't go back to the first episode of Friends, but you're not going back to the first person. You're not going back to like Jennifer Aniston's first video she ever made, or first casting call, or whatever that was. Mm-hmm. YouTube, it's all there.
Yeah, it's all there.
It's all laid out. It's fun. It's exciting to see. It's a whole new world. When I started in radio, like I had tapes of me when I was 16. I don't know where they are. I wish I could find them, because I can't imagine how bad it was. And just to be able to hear that journey and go through all that is like, boy, there's the connection you can help people with, and you can help build people's self-esteem. Yeah, just by showing like, hey, I'm
a real person too. Yeah, I mess up.
Yeah, I wasn't
not even mess up, but yeah, like you have to start somewhere. And I think sometimes people get stuck where, I mean, sometimes I even feel like this, where you start, you know, you learn and you start to grow, and you grow and you grow, and then you plateau. Like you're like, oh yeah, I'm good where I am. And like I feel like especially with YouTube, internet, and things like that, and especially like it's 2019, like what's next? Yeah. What's next? What's next? And that's how a lot of like content creators that I know, they're always thinking like, how not even maybe like equipment wise, like, okay, what's the next camera I'm going to invest my money into to get more, to make my quality better, or like lighting or audio, whatever it is. So I feel like whenever you start, if you get too comfortable, you're just gonna plateau. So that's why you have to keep pushing. It's like with anything else, with anything, any real life thing, whatever, you just got to keep pushing yourself to what's next. You got to ask yourself, what's next?
Do you think that the quality of what it looks like is that important? I guess doing makeup and stuff, that is an important part of it.
Yeah, I forget who it was. I was talking to someone about this not long ago, and they were telling me that the number one thing on YouTube that someone will click out of your video because of is audio. And now that I heard that, it really, like, I think about it so much more. the audio that you have in your video, like I know that I don't like listening to somebody when there's a million things going on in the background. And I've also noticed too, I wonder if anybody else out there has ever noticed this, or maybe you have, a lot of like big content producers. So, you know, like Shane Dawson on YouTube, or even I've noticed it with like Kylie Jenner or like Jeffree Star, whoever on that's big on YouTube. They will have the audio. Sorry, I keep knocking that.
It's okay.
They'll have the audio so low on their videos to the point where you have to like turn it up and listen. You know what I mean? Like you have to like physically tune yourself into their videos. And I swear, I think it's on purpose. It makes sense.
Dude, it works. Right?
Yeah.
You have to pay attention.
Because I'll watch a Shane Dawson's video and I'll be like, why is, because I'll watch everybody else's video on a normal thing and it'll be fine. But then I'll realize that his is, it's still clear. It's still good audio, but it's lower.
Wow, that's interesting.
So I'll go in and, you know, turn it up, and then it's like it's louder and I'm more tuned into it. And then whenever I come out, like I'll go to my next video and it'll be blaring. And I'm like, I always forget this. So that's like a little personal theory of mine.
Wow, that's nuts.
I really think the audio has a lot to go into it. And it's sad because I know I sit here and preach that, like, you know, the more relatable you are, the better. That's so true. But also at the same time, people want to see something that is, I don't want to say fake, but like inspiring to them. So like I try to make sure that whenever I get on my videos that the background is like aesthetic or pleasing to like the eye, or
that's something I got to work on.
Yeah, hey, it's okay. It's all right.
I have my logo, but
yeah, I don't judge.
There's got to be something behind you.
I think that's another thing too. You don't want it to be so overdone that you're like, this is unnatural, but something aesthetic and like kind of calming. I feel like that works pretty well for people. So yeah, I definitely would say the quality of your videos, it does play a part in it. But then you get on YouTube and there's videos that are made on a webcam with like horrible audio that have millions of views. So you just never know.
I think if somebody wants to get information from somebody and that person is giving out really valuable information, it doesn't matter what it sounds like, they're going to pay attention to it. But the better it sounds, the more people are going to check it out. Yeah. Podcasting especially. So that's funny you say that, because I think the exact opposite. So for podcasting, you know, there is video, but podcasting is in its like its original form, just audio. Yeah. And I always boost my levels up to like right before they're peaking. Right. Okay. Because like I listen to podcasts when I'm cutting the grass, when I'm doing things that might be loud. Right. So I want the audio to be, sometimes I'll be cutting the grass and I'll have a podcast and I can't hear what they're saying, because the lawnmower is drowning them out. So if you make your audio levels higher, then people can hear you anywhere. Right. But when it comes to YouTube, that's a whole different story, because people aren't really listening. They're mostly watching.
Yeah, it's so like the 2-in-1. Yeah. So you have like the entire, you're watching the entire creation, the audio, the visuals, the everything, the ads going around you that you don't even pick up on. So there's just a lot that goes into it. Yeah. Yeah.
So talking about like the humps that you've hit and you hit the plateau. And you said this before we started, like sometimes you'll hit this lull, like where you won't release content for a little bit because you don't know what you're going to talk about, and you feel like you're forcing it. Yeah. Right. And that can start to lead to the mental health stuff where you start to beat yourself up, and then you get caught in this pattern of like, am I doing the right thing? And the more you question that, the more it snowballs. Yeah. Before you're like just locked in paralysis. Yeah. Yes. And that happens to a lot of people, I'm sure, especially the bigger you get. I imagine you feel more pressure to like make good stuff. Right. So you question everything. When you hit that, what goes on in your head, and then how do you get through it? Because I think anybody, even if you've just made like a couple videos and you think about putting them on YouTube, you're automatically doing that from the beginning. Right. It just starts so early that you're like questioning yourself. Yeah. So I'd say whenever I hit that like that block or whatever, I will sit back and be like, okay, what is what is bothering me? Is it the outside thing? Is it you have so much else going on that you just can't put your heart into it? Or what is it? And more recently, it was that I felt like I was making the same thing over and over again, and I just didn't think people wanted to watch that. So number one, I try to interact a little bit more with like people that are, I don't want to say a fan of me, but people that like support me and follow me. I'll be like, okay, what do people want to see? Like I will ask that question, and I genuinely want to see the responses, because then that shows me like these people still care. There's still a couple viewers out there that want to watch, and you know, it's kind of like
it's like a secret confidence booster. Like it tells you like there are still people there, and whenever you're kind of down like that anyway, that definitely helps. So I would say that, but also I like to kind of step away every once in a while and make sure that like I am still being myself. Like, so for example, where we're both from, it's not a big city or anything. And I've found myself a lot this summer, like traveling. I have a couple of friends that live in DC area, and they do like a lot of party, like they do like host parties and stuff like that. And it's a completely different scene. You know what I mean? Like there's bottle service and there's all this fun stuff. And then you come back to reality and you're just kind of like
reality in Altoona, which is nothing going on.
Right. But like, this is also where I'm from. And this I just think like, okay, is that me, or was that just the fun I had? And like, I don't want to get myself sucked into something that isn't me. So sometimes like if I find myself like in a weird block, I'll say to myself, okay, you need to do what makes you feel like you. And if that is, because I'm really big into like thrifting. A lot of people like that on my channel too. I like to thrift clothes a lot and like rework them. I like that. I like, obviously, I like makeup and stuff like that. So I'll just find the time to do the things that make me feel like myself, and then I feel like the spirit, like it naturally comes back to you. And then like that's whenever my brain starts to be like, okay, you know, you might have done this and this, and now you're like in a rut, but like now that you're feeling more like yourself, it like the vision comes back to me, the creative side comes back to me, and it comes back naturally. It's not something like if I try to like push it doesn't work. I've always thought like it's so weird. I would be like really stressed out about something, whether this isn't even YouTube related, just in my whole life I'd be really stressed out about something, and then I would be like, you know what, I'm just gonna not sit back and let it come to me, but like when the time comes, it'll come. And it's always came. You know what it's all like maybe I'll be sitting in class one day and this thought will pop in my brain and I'll be like, you know, a couple of days ago I had no idea what I was going to do about this, and now it just came to me. So that is one thing I really feel that like when I'm being as close to myself as I can be, that like that's when everything flows perfectly.
That is exactly what it is. The more you try to force the stuff, the worse it's going to get, the more stressed out you're going to be when you just And I'm not going to go off on a tangent, but I believe in like, you've got to ask the universe questions.
Oh yeah.
And don't look for an answer. Don't be like, all right, where's the answer at?
Right. It'll come to you.
Is it coming? Like it'll happen when it needs to happen.
Yes.
Like it's not going to happen when you want it to, but if you throw it out there enough and you ask that question enough and you put yourself in those situations, so you say like it's you going to the thrift store and repurposing clothes or whatever. Like if I go on a walk, if I'm stressed about something or I'm trying to create something, and I'm like in this office trying to create, like, forget it. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
If I go for a 45-minute walk, something's going to come to me.
Yeah.
Because, and I'll just ask the question and I'll try to clear my mind and like not think about anything, and something will drift in and I'll be like, damn, that's good. Really good. It might not be the exact thing, but it's going to take me on the path to make the right decision.
It's crazy, just as if being yourself,
and
it really works.
Especially in the crazy world we live in, because things are so fast paced and things are just, there's too much information being thrown at us at all times. The more you can do that, the more tapped in you're going to be to what you really truly should be doing. Yeah. The more you look to the external world for confirmation that you're doing the right thing. Oh yeah, no. You're gonna be disappointed every single time. The answers, you already have all the answers. You just have to. You just gotta like pay attention to where they're coming from, and then
execute them like as best you can, like as genuine as you can, and hopefully people will enjoy it. And if they do, keep going. So
is that innate in you? Do you feel like that's just something that you naturally know how to do, or was that taught to you by somebody to be able to figure that out? Or do you had to figure it out by?
I definitely had to figure it out by trial and error, because you know there have been times when I'm like, okay, I like forcing myself into things, and I mean it relates to all different aspects of life. I don't know. So like I coach cheerleading, and I've done choreography for my teams for a couple years now, and there's been times where like I'll set a day at a time to do choreography, but I'll hit a block and I'll be like, oh, and it's just because I know I have to do it at this point. So what I try to do is I'll set a day and a time way in advance, and then I will not stress about it. I won't like put any pressure on myself to like, you know, to plan this entire routine or whatever until it just kind of comes to me. And then one So, okay, I'm going to give you a really specific example. I have a little hip hop team. They're little girls. They have a hip hop team, and they usually do like a type theme style dance. And I'm like, oh my God, what are we going to wear? What songs are we going to do? What's the theme? I'm like freaking out. And then one day I was sitting in my car and I heard this remix to Cardi B Money, and it was like a DJ like type EDM type remix.
Yeah.
And I was like, I like this. And then it just hit me, and I was like, they're gonna do a money theme, they're gonna wear this and this, and I was just like, I'm gonna put this song in, I'm gonna make some other money songs into it, and it just all hit me. And it was like months later, and then I wrote it down, and I was like, I'm gonna execute it when time comes, and that was it. So I really tried to not dwell, because that's tying into mental health. When you start dwelling on something, number one, it typically doesn't work out, and number two, like, it's just not as natural. So, and I get myself so stressed out. I'll be like,
it's overthinking. You're over planning for something that doesn't need over planning. That's the thing. Dwelling is like you're not asking a question and just throwing it out there. You're asking that question 8 million times in your head and like driving yourself nuts about it. And it's just maybe you can pull it off, but it's probably going to be a disaster.
Exactly.
Or not as good as it could be.
Exactly. If you would just actually do it from the heart and let it like flow naturally. I feel like a lot of creative people, that's where it comes from. Like, some people have the creative, mind, some people don't, and I totally get that. But like, I think the success stories from creative people, obviously it comes from hard work, but it comes from like their own creative mind. Like, everyone has something creative, whether it be their personality or whatever it is. I feel like once they tap into that and let it flow naturally, like it might take a little bit of time, but yeah.
I think everybody has a creative mind, right? Yeah. Everybody has imagination. Unfortunately,
some people just don't tap into it.
Yeah. Maybe it got beat out of us when we were a kid. Yeah. We weren't allowed to be as creative as we wanted to be, or we just started to fit into these norms that seemed like the right thing to do. And that just like saps all of your imagination.
Oh yeah.
The more you can get into your imagination, like, man, how fun could life possibly be? How can I make all this stuff fun? That's really the key. If you're having fun, it doesn't feel like work.
Exactly. I always tell people that, like, like, I know a lot of people that went to Penn State where they aspired to work a corporate job, which I'm not putting that down at all. Like, people have to do that, and if that's what they wanted to do that. But it just never felt appealing to me. I was like, you want to work at a cubicle from 9 to 5? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like,
sounds awesome. My own cubicle?
No, thank you. So...
yeah, I want to claw my eyes out of my head. I could not even handle it.
I can't. I really can't. So
what do you think you're going to do? What do you think?
After school?
Yeah, like what's your plan?
Well, I'm going to stay with YouTube and Instagram, hopefully all that kind of stuff, as long as they're still here.
They're going to, I don't think Instagram might go through changes. I feel like YouTube's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know how
they make so much money off YouTube, but no, I mean, you just never know, like, you don't know, maybe there's gonna be something bigger than YouTube here soon. You never know.
True.
So I'm gonna stay with all of that. I think about this a lot. I want to stay modern for as long as I can. So I want to be that 50-year-old that's like still working and still creating content and still in the game. Maybe I'm not vlogging or whatever, but like, I'm still up on it. I know what's the newest thing. I know this. I want to be modern forever. And like, I want, that's one of my goals, number one. But number two, after school, I want to leave the area, which I've said this before, and people...
Anybody from our area wants to leave the area.
Yeah. And I'm not even down...
It's the weather. It's just like, there's many factors.
I'm not downplaying our area because, like, obviously I grew up here and my family's here. I love to be home. I love it. Like, but there's just so much more opportunity other places. Yeah. So... I used to think, I'm going to the West Coast, which is where everybody wants to go. Everyone wants to go to California. Everyone wants to go out there. And recently I found I kind of just, I'm a homebody, honestly. Yeah. I really am. And I'm not I just do better knowing I can get in my car and drive home if I want to. I think that's one of the major reasons I went to Penn State, because it was 45 minutes down the road. But I'm thinking my goal basically is to live south somewhere, not completely not Florida or anything like that, not yet, but I really like DC area. Like I just had said about that earlier, I really like DC. I think it's like a smaller, cleaner, a little bit more like organized New York City. And the time I've met people there, and it's crazy. I'll go there for a weekend, hang out with my friends, just, and then my Instagram engagement is skyrocketed. I got people messaging me like, hey, you want to be in my music video? Do you want to work on this together? And I'm like, if I lived here, if I lived here, the opportunity would just be. But then again, I mean, there would obviously be disadvantages too. But
I think if you want to grow, if you're going to grow, and this is where I'm at right now, right? Because I've lived here my whole life, and I've wanted to leave many times. Then I realized, okay, I'm really happy that I did stay, because I grew a lot just by staying here. I wasn't prepared to go, and I always have had this idea. I want to make this area, or I want to make people who were like me, I guess, because whenever you come up in the area we came up in. A lot of people, like, you don't have enough inspiring people around you to get you like fired up. No. So you're like, how am I ever going to get fired up if nobody else is fired up? Nobody's doing anything. Everyone's the same. And if you want to break out of that mold and you want to impact people's lives, then you've got to go away and come back and then make some impact. And that's something that I feel like it's not like I want to disown where I came from. No. It's like, dude, I just want to experience more stuff. And I want to be around people who are like on fire with life. Like they're really excited about things.
Yeah.
And that's whatever. I mean, if you're not, and that's not you, that's fine. But if you do want that, you should not be shamed for wanting to be around other people who want that.
Exactly.
Who have that. Like, that's just, you got to experience it.
One of my biggest goals, actually, I think about this every day, is like with the high school. I went to Altoona High, and the high school that I went to was just very, like, everyone kind of did the same thing. There wasn't, like you said, that there's an entrepreneurship program now at that school. Yeah. So that's really cool. But I think that one thing I would do, say I blew up, was making millions or whatever, I would come back here and like I would donate whatever I had to donate to make some type of like creator program at that high school, because it's not like, I don't think anyone is shaming anyone, but it's just so not modern. You know what I mean?
When you grow up with parents that don't have those first of all, this didn't exist 10 years ago.
Right, exactly.
So you can't expect somebody who's 40 or 50 to like just totally understand and be on board. Luckily, your parents are and they get it.
Yeah.
Right, but a lot of people don't get it. So even you go to school and teachers don't necessarily know, they teach, but they haven't experienced. Yeah. Right? So it's hard to learn something from somebody who hasn't experienced things. They just went to college and then became a teacher. Mm-hmm. And whenever your parents didn't have that experience, whenever none of your friends or their parents had that experience, where do you get the connection from?
Exactly.
Hopefully there's something inside of you that like sparks it. And then luckily with the internet now, you can find those people anywhere. You can study them online. It makes it a lot easier. But yeah, it's difficult. And it's really, I fell into that for a long time. It was like, man, nobody
is like me.
If I don't see anybody doing it, but I know I want to do it, why should I go do it if nobody else is?
Right. It's not normal. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I feel like that. I mean, see, I feel like in bigger cities, you do have more people like us that are younger that are doing this. And that's why it is more prominent in bigger cities. Like you go to New York City, everybody's different, everybody, there's so many different types of people, and that it's not like that here. So, and I do feel like, I don't want to use the word shamed, like I said, but it's almost like you are kind of scared to like be different than everybody else. You'd rather fit in because no one else does this. So I want to make it like, I really feel like that is one of the first things I would do if I ever hit it big, really big. I will come back and I will give money. I would not, they have the broadcasting program at that school, which is great and all, but like, just something that like you can create in your own space and not worry about like outside people, like there's no judgment. I love that. I just think that like
you get that FU money, when you can just do whatever you want.
But when I have stupid money, I'm coming back to give it to my high school, and we're putting a little program in, and I also think that
what's the program? What are you doing? What's
a creator program? Yeah, maybe they need they don't know, they need cameras, they need computers, or they need audio. Who knows what it'll be at that time? What'll be the cool thing? And like a creator program so that people can express themselves if they want to. And I just think that would be. Yeah, I think it would be really nice.
It's necessary for sure, because we're not going backwards. We're only going forward with this stuff. Yeah. So the more you try to resist it and be like, this is a fad, man. This isn't going to last. Like That's crazy talk.
Oh yeah, no, this is
That's old
the
person
future.
talk.
Yeah,
Right?
this
It's
is
just
there's money in it for sure.
Yeah, and it's fun. It's not just money. There's like you can live the life you want to live.
Exactly.
It's there. The opportunity's there.
I think about that all the time.
Well, Hanny Bakes, thanks so much. I love when you come in here because it really is like exciting. What I find, I'll go right back to it one final time in our area though. It's exciting to find other people who are like passionate about this stuff and who get excited about it. 'Cause it's super fun to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's hard to talk to people who don't do it.
They don't because
because
always
they
get
just
it.
don't.
Yeah.
They don't have as much to say about it. Like that's cool, but they just haven't experienced it.
Right.
Once you start getting into it, it's
the
like,
right people, you connect with the right people, you never know what'll happen.
it's a good kind of addiction.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of addictions out there that can be bad for you. And I guess this one can kind of ruin you too if you're the wrong kind of person. But
right.
I think if you got the right mindset, which you obviously do, like you've got the right
Try.
mindset for it and you enjoy it and you're doing it for a purpose.
Definitely.
And you're having fun.
Yes.
And it's like who you are.
Yep.
So thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
So they want to find you, Hanny with 2 Y's.
Hanny Bakes with 2 I's on Instagram, and on YouTube it's just Hanny Bakes with 2 I's too. Same thing. Try to keep it same across all platforms.
That's a smart way to do it. That way people can find you wherever you are.
I have Twitter too, but that's just more for
I don't see your
entertainment.
what are you doing on there?
Oh, I just talk about my day or whatever.
Okay.
I have like 5,000 followers on there, but that's just more like my friends, and that's just for fun.
Yeah.
That's not as serious, I guess.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, cool. Well, yeah, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
See you.
This is Rob Z Radio.